Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, surprised everyone when he dropped in on a reception titled The Real Face of Men's Health USA, a report from the Movember Institute of Men's Health kicking off his trip to NYC. Prince Harry sat on the panel and shared a few words. I have the deets from People magazine, so let's get into it. Thank you for clicking on my video, and if you're returning, welcome back to my channel. Today, we'll be reading an update from the Archewell Foundation discussing Prince Harry's attendance of the reception at the Australian American Association in New York City, launching The Real Face of Men's Health USA, a groundbreaking report from the Movember Institute of Men's Health. We have all the deets. I was originally going to go with a People magazine article, but Archewell Foundation is so quick by updating their website, I decided to go directly to the source. But before we get into that, if you haven't already, please don't forget to go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and please don't forget to share so that more people can find us. Once again, this update is coming directly to us from the Archewell Foundation. You can find that at archewell.org, or you could use the link in the description box below under sources. It's titled The Real Face of Men's Health. Prince Harry, Duke of Sussex, joined Movember, the leading global men's health nonprofit, for an evening conversation that laid bare a crisis hiding in plain sight. American men are dying younger, struggling more, and suffering in silence at rates that demand urgent attention. You've got my attention, tell me more. The reception at the Australian American Association in New York City launched The Real Face of Men's Health USA, a groundbreaking report from the Movember Institute of Men's Health that combines hard data with human stories to reveal what's killing men and why so many never ask for help and why a majority die prematurely, 53%. That is insane. Journalist Brooke Baldwin moderated a conversation between Prince Harry and leading researchers, including Zach Seidler, Movember's Global Director of Men's Health Research, and Calvin Abbasi of the Andron Project, Dr. Derek Griffith from the University of Pennsylvania, Brian Haleman, Senior Research Fellow at Movember and co-author of the report, and Maddie Novello from Iconic Impact spoke on a separate panel about the research. What emerged from both dialogues was a portrait of American masculinity at a crossroads. Wow. Prince Harry, who has spent over a decade working with veterans and advocating for mental health, spoke about a pattern he's witnessed across communities, the profound isolation men experience when they believe no one will understand what they're going through. He is uniquely qualified to speak about this as well for a multitude of reasons. Quote, "Yet when I speak to men, the same struggles keep coming up," he said, which tells me that the weight they carry isn't uncommon. The biggest barrier is the belief that no one will understand. Is the belief that no one will understand. Loneliness convinces you you're the only one, which is rarely true. It's so interesting he would say that because on a separate note, I was just watching the interview and I referenced it not too long ago. I was watching a Call Her Daddy interview with Ayesha Curry, and she was talking about some of the struggles she faced when she was trying to get adjusted to being a basketball wife. And it was just another world and a whole different mental lane than she was prepared to be in, plus all the criticism. And some of the feedback that she got of what she learned is that it's important to remember that there is a community. You have to find them and they'll find you, but there is always a community of people who have had the same experience as you and who can offer you resources, help, a helping hand, comfort, what have you. The isolation is a lie. It's something that your brain tells you. It's something that anxiety will say to you. And sometimes it's a culmination of our fears manifesting in our own mind that, no, you're the only one. This is very unique. This is only you. And that isolation on top of whatever other ailment you're having, whether that's anxiety, whether that's depression, no matter what it is, that prevailing belief that no one will understand and I'm all by myself, that is a barrier in and of itself. And I really appreciated what Ayesha Curry said to Alex Cooper, that there is a community. You just have to go find them, but you are not alone. No matter what your brain tells you, you are not alone. And unless you're a clairvoyant, there's no way for you to know if other people have had that experience. So your brain is lying to you because it's a culmination, it's thoughts culminating from your fears and anxiety, but it is not true. And so I really appreciate Prince Harry taking a moment to note that, no, you are not alone, but a lot of that, the stress that comes along with whatever else you're already dealing with, is the belief that no one will understand. So you're not only carrying a heavy weight, but you're literally carrying it all by yourself. This isolation shows up starkly in Movember's research. Men consistently underestimate how many of their peers support open emotional conversations, reflecting a wide perception gap between private beliefs and assumed norms. In 2023, American men had a life expectancy of just 75.8 years, ranking the United States 27th out of 31 OECD countries. Men are more than twice as likely as women to die from heart disease, 20% more likely to die from cancer, and 250% more likely to die from accidents and drug overdoses. Behind these statistics are fathers who never mentioned chest pain, brothers who hid addiction, sons who believed asking for help wasn't masculine. Wow. This is incredible, and it's also extremely timely as I've been learning more about the different ways the patriarchy can really harm people. And it doesn't just harm people who aren't men, it harms men as well. And this is a great example of how that came to be. This false belief that masculinity and stoicism are mutual, are exactly the same, are similar, or even synonymous, I should say, is false. Stoicism can be helpful in certain situations, but that being your overall being and just your consistent disposition is extremely unhealthy. You are supposed to feel and you are supposed to express, because before you're anything else, you are still human. So wherever you identify, whatever gender you identify with, whatever your sexual orientation, however you present yourself, masculine or feminine presenting, whatever it is that you create about yourself or you believe about yourself, at its core, you are always a human first, and humans are supposed to feel, humans are supposed to express. And I cannot say that enough. I have plenty of men in my family who have that same belief system, and they are some of the most ornery, stressed, anxious-filled, egomaniacal people you've ever met. Whereas on the other side of my family, I have a lot of men who are extremely emotionally aware, very expressive, willing to speak openly. They don't hold that same belief that masculinity looks one way, it looks statuesque or stoic or anything like that. They understand they're human first. And by growing, maturing, and recognizing that there's masculinity and then there's toxic masculinity, and then there's these patriarchal beliefs that are pressed upon us, we're conditioned to believe about both men and women, that cause us harm. Men are not supposed to be statues. People, I should say, not even just men, but people are not supposed to be statues. Crying is not inherently feminine, and being angry is not inherently masculine. We are supposed to feel a multitude of emotions, and we are supposed to feel them, process them, and express them in healthy manners. And we are supposed to be able to communicate about them. How else are we supposed to not only learn about ourselves, but learn new ways to cope and process and express? I'm really glad this is coming up. Obviously, this generated a lot of ideas and thoughts for me. So let's continue, and I'll continue my conversation on the other side. The crisis facing young men. Mental health challenges hit younger men particularly hard. More than 1 in 4 men ages 18 to 34 reported experiencing mental ill health in the past year, with rates peaking at 32% among men aged 30 to 34. Prince Harry addressed a social media as what he views as one of the most urgent alarm bells. He said too many young men are being raised by algorithms that make them feel powerless and hopeless rather than real mentors. They seek guidance online and find themselves in digital spaces designed to maximize engagement through outrage and division, not to support healthy development. Prince Harry, ladies and gentlemen, that is a real mic drop. He is absolutely right. And I haven't read the rest of this, so I don't know if it's going to be named, but red pill content is extremely detrimental, and it has eroded the brains of an entire generation, damn near. It is horrible. And it's being fed to children, both men and women, boys and girls, excuse me. It's being fed to boys and girls alike in different ways. And it is extremely toxic. And it is so covert and subtle that even parents who are diligent about checking their children's iPad and phone and having these restrictions and these rules, they're getting by because it's a parent and they're up against a team of literal IT experts who are adept in getting around the parental view straight to the target, which is the child. And again, another reason why Harry and Meghan and Archewell Foundation's online safety platform is so important, because this is one of the examples of how that manifests later on in life as well, and earlier in life. I'm not sure if they'll mention it, but suicide amongst young boys is on the rise as well. That's a direct correlation. So again, let's continue. I don't want to go off track, but he's absolutely right about this. And I love that he's speaking so openly and honestly about it, because it is hard for people to hear the truth. And it's also easy for parents to sometimes say, oh, my kid has access to this, I'm a bad parent, and they have that parental guilt. And honestly, I hate to hear that, but I try not to condemn. I don't condemn parents at all, but I try not to condemn people when they admit to having that kind of guilt, because it is natural. If you care and then you feel like, or you have the belief that I let something slip past me, it's kind of natural to feel some form of responsibility. But I do hope those people recognize that you are no match for a team, sometimes hundreds and thousands of IT experts who have been studying this stuff and creating and coding this stuff for decades now. You are no match for them. All we can do is commit to learning, applying, implementing, and moving forward with what we know, and communing and sharing information and gathering information. We can only do what we can do, but you should not expect yourself to know all things and be all things and be smarter and more savvy and think 3 steps ahead of an IT expert whose literal job is to mentally entrap your child so that they have a customer or a consumer or a person who will click on their channel or whatever it is. So you're no match for them. So all you can do is the best you can do, and the best you can do is only a culmination of things that you have, and the information you have on hand. And you can only get that through learning, listening, and trying, adapting. And that's one day at a time. It's not fair that you even have to deal with that, but it is not your fault. It's a team effort. He argued that changing the incentive structures of these platforms, rewarding connection and empathy instead of exploitation, could fundamentally shift how boys grow up. The conversation touched on the fact that men need different pathways to connect. Movember's research confirmed that rather than immediately sharing feelings in a circle, men often connect more naturally while working on shared projects or tasks together. This insight has shaped how effective men's health initiatives create spaces for vulnerability. From crisis to connection. The Duke's work with the Invictus Games has shown him what becomes possible when strength is redefined, vulnerability is respected, and recovery is celebrated as courage. He noted that the role models young men need aren't necessarily celebrities, but dads, coaches, and friends who choose honesty over silence. Woo! Goodness gracious, he is preaching, is he not? He noted that members of the military and first responders can be some of the most powerful role models if they are able to share their struggles. They are the real superheroes, he said. The conversation repeatedly returned to a central insight. Connection saves lives. When men hear, I've been there too, walls begin to crack. The challenge now is creating more spaces, online and offline, where those conversations can happen, where seeking help is normalized, and where the definition of strength expands to include emotional honesty and asking for support. Quote, I found myself speaking to many veterans and sitting down with them. I realized the silence is killing people, he said, adding, stamping out the stigma globally. We've come a long way. Access to therapy is still a massive problem. And y'all know, anytime therapy and access to therapy comes up, I love to share that there are so many ways that you can that you can acquire and obtain mental health care services through providers like licensed clinical social workers, psychologists, what have you. I always recommend going to one of 2 places or both. Psychology Today. They have 1,000,001 filters where you can literally filter by your insurance carrier, so that if your insurance covers it, you can filter by people who accept your insurance. If you want to see a specific race, if you have matters that you feel more comfortable talking about with a specific race or gender or person or location or what have you, online, offline, what have you, group therapy, individual one-on-one, you can filter by all of those things on Psychology Today, and you can actually reach out to these therapists, or at least their offices, to schedule an appointment or at least an initial assessment through Psychology Today. They actually have a messaging portal that you can do that securely. And then you also have ZocDoc. You can do all the same filters, insurance as well, or you can filter by out of pocket, same as Psychology Today. And you can find someone through that as well. And then lastly, if you don't have insurance and you need to pay out of pocket, then there are providers, most of them will allow you to pay cash. If you don't have enough for their listed rate, you are always welcome to call a therapist or their office and ask, do you have a sliding scale rate or an income-based rate? And they will be happy to share that with you. And if they don't, more than likely, which is almost every time, they will be able to refer you to someone they know who does have that rate, who will be able to help you. And then there are some therapists who may hear that and say, hey, I offer 1 to 2 free sessions a week. Would you like to take that session? Almost every provider at my practices offered 1 session at least a week for free. And it's just a way to make mental health care, more accessible to people. But again, these things aren't always advertised. So I try to share them as often as I can. And I'm pretty sure there are a number of other ways that you would be able to acquire mental health care, whether that's through group therapy, whether that's through organizations. If there's always the suicide hotline, if things are extreme and you feel like you need that kind of resource, all of these things are extremely accessible, but sometimes they're not as advertised, or then the information is just not out there, but they are available. For those of you who follow me, who are in the mental health care field, I know I have at least 2 psychologists who follow me, who I've talked to before. But if you are watching this and you want to share how people can acquire mental health care services through therapy or group therapy, etc., for people who might be financially challenged or need some kind of income-based assistance, please share that in the comment section, and I will pin your comment so that people can see that first. Please just let me know. Anyway, here are the pictures from the event. Thank you so much for watching the SharionSade YouTube channel. I appreciate you watching my content. If you haven't already, please don't forget to go ahead and like this video by hitting the thumbs up. Please don't forget to subscribe by hitting the subscribe button. And don't forget to comment along the way. If you feel so inclined, please don't forget to share so that more people can find us. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Now let's get back to the video. Prince Harry attended this event ahead of his anticipated events for Project Healthy Minds, and he's going to be attending those events for World Mental Health Day with Meghan. So I'm so excited to talk about those events as they come up. They have an event today and they have events tomorrow. So we will be talking about those as they conclude, and I'm going to wait until Sussex.com and Archewell.com update so that I can get all the information that Harry and Meghan would prefer to be out there. I'd like to use that as our source material. So I would love to talk about things as soon as they're happening or while they're happening, but I think it's best for me anyway, for me to wait until we get the Archewell or Sussex.com update, just so we can have all the information and the right information. So I'm so excited about that. And People Magazine is also including this. People Magazine exclusively revealed that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex will accept the Humanitarians of the Year Award at Project Healthy Minds' 3rd annual World Mental Health Day Gala. That's tonight. Harry and Meghan will be appearing at the event hosted by Carson Daly of The Today Show. I am so excited for this. So obviously we have to wait until that happens for me to talk about it, but I will definitely be talking about it tomorrow. Depending on the pace of these events, I might actually push the live stream that I was going to do tomorrow. I might go ahead and just push that to Monday, and we can talk about everything in one group conversation. But I will be doing individual videos tomorrow and Saturday to cover everything as it's happening. So I am so excited about not only this event. I mean, clearly I resonated with everything they were talking about. I mean, it's just such an important topic, men's health in general, mental health in general, but something that gets missed because men aren't considered a vulnerable party. A lot of times their needs can get missed and looked over. And it doesn't help that a lot of men, not all, but a lot of men do lean into the belief that being masculine means carrying it all quietly. And that's simply not true. You are a human being and you deserve healthy mind, healthy body, healthy emotions, healthy spirit, whatever else, healthy relationships. You deserve all the same things, and you deserve those things in abundance. And so whatever barriers you may have to achieving those things or acquiring those things, please reach out for help to remove those barriers. There are experts who are trained in helping you, and they want to help. You are not a burden. You are not less of a man. You are not less masculine. You are a human. And there are people here in this world who are happy to help you with every single human need you have. What makes you mature, what makes you a person, what makes you a man or a woman or whatever you identify as, what makes you that to the fullest extent is making sure you're here to embody that. And that entails taking care of your health. The goal is to keep you here and keep you healthy. So with that said, I hope anyone who needs the help, please reach out and get it. I am going to link Psychology Today and ZocDoc.com below. just for anyone who might want to just check those out, whether you need those services or you want to share those services, by all means. Because I'm going to be honest, before I worked as an operations manager and then later director of operations for several behavioral health and mental health practices, I had no idea there were so many ways to access mental health care at all. I'd been in therapy when my parents divorced. They divorced at the same time that my favorite uncle died. So I went to therapy. My teacher actually put me in therapy, the school counselor. And so I stayed in therapy all through school, all through high school. And then once I graduated, I had to find a therapist through my insurance provider. So I just called and they hooked me up with someone. And it was always that simple to me, cut and dry, but not everybody has insurance and not everybody has had, thankfully, a catastrophic moment in their life where their teacher intervened. But that was helpful to me because I learned about what therapy actually was. And I always went to therapy. But growing up, I didn't know that there were other ways that you could achieve it. And I had no idea there were so many ways that you could actually pay for therapy if you had challenges when it comes to income. And a lot of times that is the first barrier to receiving healthcare of any kind is how am I going to pay for it? Especially if you're here in America. I'm really talking to Americans here because y'all know for us to be a first world country, we do a lot of things very backwards, ass backwards, as my mom would say. But anyway, there are so many ways to achieve mental health care. And there are so many ways that remove the barrier of financial limitations. And so I try to share that information as much as I can. And again, if you have information that I did not share in this podcast or this video, please feel free to share that. And if you don't mind putting your credentials so that we know where the source of that information is coming from, that would be super, super helpful. So that is all I have for y'all today. I'm so excited for the rest of these events. I cannot wait. If you have not already, please don't forget to go ahead and like this video, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to share so that more people can find us. And I will see y'all next time. Bye.